All right, pork butts were on sale for $1.59, so we're going to take this pork shoulder, cut it up, and make some kielbasa, hot Polish smoked sausage. All right, we're going to grind this with a 6 millimeter plate, and that's just because I'm doing two things, cabanossi and hot smoked sausage, Polish sausage. 6 to 8 millimeter, but I like slightly finer grind, 6 millimeters. I greased up the back side of that plate right there using just a gelled mineral oil, food safe mineral oil. And then the back side of that right there, I greased that up so that it would ride against that plastic thrust bearing correctly without creating any friction. I could take this whole unit and put it in the freezer and chill that down, but I'm doing a fairly large grind, so it shouldn't be a problem. It'll stay cool. All right, line it up, tighten it up, and then back it off just a little bit so there's no friction to heat it up. Freezing the meat until it's partially frozen gives the best grind and keeps you from getting any fat smearing, which can cause fat out or fat melting while you cook your sausage. In this case, I had the meat sitting in the refrigerator while I cut up the two pork butts. So it's about 34, 35 degrees, which is still plenty cold. And I'm doing only a 6 millimeter medium grind with a powerful grinder with sharp knives, so it'll be fine. I got about 5 kilograms total between two butts. So let's give it a grind. It's a number 22 grinder, 1 horsepower motor. And you can see that I'm just plopping the pieces in this fast, and it just grinds it right up, feeds it in, and that's the rate it's coming out. And we're going to finish that whole thing up in less than a minute, and you can see it's making a nice, good grind. That'll be good for Polish sausage and cabanossi both. All right, here's a big piece right here. And let's see if it can grind that whole strip. Yep. So a big grinder like this has a nice advantage for speed cutting up, because I can just toss a whole big strip like that in. I don't even have to cut it up small pieces like this. And grind it up. Almost done. Okay, there's 2.5 kilograms, about 5.5 pounds, which is the unit I like to use because this thing will hold between 5 and 6 pounds. This KitchenAid 6-quart blender, and it's a good blender. And there's the spice mix. All right, we're getting ready to stuff this. You can see it's still got some particle definition, but you can take a chunk and flip it upside down and it sticks together. So it's got good extraction. Now we're gonna take the stuffer, spray a little bit of canola oil on there. That helps the meat come off later and also keeps the stuffer from sticking. Let's load it up. All right, there it is, loaded up and the stuffer ready to go. Now let's calculate. I wrote it down on here. 30 to 32 millimeter casings. It's 2.5 feet per pound. We got just under 6 pounds. So let's say 6 pounds. So we're safe. So 2.5 times 6 is 12 plus 3. 15 feet. However, I'm going to overstuff these because it's Polish sausage, so it'll be 32 to 35, 2 feet per pound. So it's somewhere between 12 and 15 feet. I'll add a little extra to be safe. All right, the way I like to measure this, this happened to be tubed, but you can pull it off. I get one end and I measured arm length to arm length is about your height. So for me, fingertip to fingertip is about 6 feet. So I did 2 of these, that's 12 feet, plus I added like 3 extra feet, 15 feet. All right, and now I'm just going to find the end, open it up, and run some water through, like this. And that is going to make a bubble right there. Get it open, put water in, and I think you can see it going in there. It's going to make a bubble of water that just goes in there, fills it all up. Get a little bit of water on there, feed it on. All right, and you can see how easy it goes on when I have that extra water there. There's a little twist here, but it runs ahead of it because it's filled with water. So it's just a great way to do it. This even came on a tube, which you're supposed to be able to slide on all at once and then pull the plastic sleeve. I don't like that. I like doing it this way. That way I can measure it. I have an idea. All right. And there it is. Now I'm just going to tie a piece of string across there and we'll get started. Here's the string. Okay, I poked the end of the tube right here with this little sausage pricker just so it can let a little bit of air out. And now we'll just put our hand here to hold it and crank it. It's going to get a little air. Okay, here we go. And since I'm making Polish sausage, this is already a bit of a slightly fatter than normal casing. And so 30 to 32 is normal. I think this is 32 to 34. All right. So, and what I want is that size, fairly fat. So I'm kind of holding it on a little bit more than normal, maybe, just so that this Polish sausage will fill up. Now I'm going to pinch these into loops like that. So let's make sure I can pinch it. Yep, no problem. So it's got the right amount. All right, and then I won't make you watch the whole stuff, but that's it. You just have a loose bit. And then right here you can see that it's starting to fill up with air again right here. See that? Just poke it a few times and deflate it. And what I like to do is have this tip buried in the meat just a little bit. And that lets me get a full stuff without any air bubbles and everything in there as it backflows. Okay, there it is. It got stuck one point and had a blowout, so I had to tie it off and do the end piece there. All right. All right, it's all stuffed. That's the importance of knowing the how much fits in the various tubes. Look at that. That's all I had extra. All right, so that was a pretty accurate measurement. All right, I went through with this, and any place that there was a little air bubble, I just gave it a little poke to get rid of the air bubble. And there really weren't very many, just over here at the end. Now we're going to take it up and smoke it. All right, there it is. I actually hung some of them in rings, but they were touching each other, so I moved them apart. That's a pain to do that. It's kind of a waste. I'd rather just do them straight. So I did one rack straight. Here you can see the meat after it's been in for about 1 hour at 150 degrees. And I've loaded up some additional 21 millimeter meat sticks in between the two layers of Polish sausage. You can see it's picked up a little bit of color, but not as much as I wanted. I loaded 8 ounces of cherry wood in the little hutch at the bottom. That's the total amount of smoke for the entire cook. I bumped the temperature at this point up to 170 degrees so that I'd get a little bit more color and get the cook going. After 4 hours, the temperature was 142 degrees, and from the US FDA time temperature pathogen lethality tables, I only need 8 minutes at 142 degrees. But since I was targeting 150 to 155 degrees, I decided to leave it in there overnight with no smoke, just using it as an electric oven. In the morning after 11 hours, this is what it looked like. It's got a rich color from the cherry wood smoke that is not overly smoked, so it's a nice mellow smoke. You can see that the round ones have the characteristic curve, and then I've got a bunch of long straight ones. I don't think there's any real difference on presentation between the two because you inevitably cut it into chunks less than a full curve so that you can bag it in vacuum sealing. What the cross section of the sausage looks sliced up, you can see that it has good particle definition with some nice chunks of fat that you can still see in it, and yet it's well bound together. It's got a really great flavor from that cherry wood smoke, and the only spices in there again is marjoram, black pepper, and salt and garlic. So real characteristic kielbasa flavor. I really enjoyed it. If you got anything out of this video or enjoyed it, I'd sure appreciate a thumbs up, and if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It would help me out. Thanks for watching this sausage cook with me.